Okay, dude. I kept getting comments about this one called Princess Trixie Sparkle by Magpie Pony, a name I very much recognize. After experiencing the ups and downs of both Bride and Daughter of Discord, I figured that this other one wouldn't be as much of an experience, but no. I thought it was better overall, but there were a lot of similarities, if you know what I mean. Jokes that didn't hit for me, weird fanficky story beats, and songs that were hard to sit through. Just like the Discord saga though, those things made it fun. And believe it or not, I like having fun. And again, there are parts that are just good and well done. I have to shout out all the effort here. Some of our old friends from Bride and Daughter even return as artists and voice actors, so what are we waiting for? This is Princess Trixie Sparkle. The story here is adapted from a fanfic of the same name, written by Magpie herself. The story began publishing in early 2014, with the first episode of the audio drama coming out a few months after. We open on Trixie scheming to get back at Twilight for embarrassing her. She sings a song about how she's got a new trick up her sleeve and is really gonna get her this time. The song here is Smile by Avril Lavigne, not one I recognized. I figured this would be like Bride, where all the song parodies are from stuff I don't know, but right as I think that, the intro song is When Can I See You Again by Owl City. A big thing from my watch through that I picked up was music taken from really obvious places, like later on in the episode they have music cues taken from MLP, as well as just an instrumental of Poor Unfortunate Souls from The Little Mermaid. I'm not complaining about this, like what am I gonna say? Oh, how dare they not write a bunch of original incidental music for this random internet fan thing. I'm just making an observation. What you're gonna notice in this episode is that we start off with a lot of assets taken from the show, and what I assume are random pony vectors from DeviantArt. Don't get used to those because original art is coming up a few episodes down the line. Trixie goes to Twilight making up some story about needing help with the magic thing, and at the end of her visit makes her stare into this evil green jewel. Next morning, Twi wakes up and they've swapped bodies? Twilight's in the body of Trixie, and who knows what Trixie's up to with Twilight's body. The main six get together to try and figure out what's going on, where we get some really nice dialogue. I think the interactions between the main six are all well done. I mean, you do get like the classic Fan and Pinkie Pie here, but besides that, this feels like what you'd get if you told an AI to write an MLP thing. And I mean that as a compliment, YouTube commenters. The rest of the main six get swapped after they try and investigate the jewel, and I am genuinely surprised this wasn't something they tried in the show. There was one episode where Fluttershy got swapped with the bunny, but MLP is a show where all the characters have such distinct personalities that seeing them in a Freaky Friday role could be a lot of fun. And as we're gonna see, they try and get the most out of it they can. I actually think the reason they never did the idea in any official MLP media is because it's the kind of thing you would want to do a lot of stuff with. Like, a single episode or a 4-issue comic story wouldn't be enough to explore all the main six in that scenario. Or if they were gonna do something with just two of them, like, it feels like a whole can of worms. In my notes, I had a whole thing about, oh, the voice actors sound a little off, but I can at least tell who everyone is. Not anymore. They go to Zeccora's hut and they play that one sad MLG montage parody song.
It is my fault. It's my fault for trusting Trixie.
And episode over. Episode 2, we see what Trixie's up to. With them changing places, she's able to live the high life she's always wanted. Luna notices that Twilight's been acting a little weird and sings a song about how being a princess ain't all fun and games. And it's a parody of Because the Night. Because she's the princess of the night. A criticism I have about Luna in this is that they make her talk like she did in her season 2 debut, all stiff and with the Queen of England royal we. I get this was written in 2013, 2014, but Sleepless in Ponyville came out in December 2012, and she talks like a normal person in that. You know, sure hope somebody got fired for that blunder. Trixie gets a reprise of her song and sends the guards after the main six to cover her tracks. No more of that because we've got a Pinkie Pie and Rarity adventure. This is what I was talking about when I mentioned them getting the most out of it. Rarity has to go to some fashion thing, and since she and Pinkie are swapped, hijinks ensue. I was ready to bang my head into my desk because I thought it would turn into a My Fair Lady thing, which is one of those things I'm really sick of everybody referencing. But no, she sings We Found Love by Rihanna, which honestly, not a bad fit. It sounds like something that would fit in the universe, either from Rarity or part of some Equestria Girls soundtrack. Because the night too, you can squint your ears and see how that one would be an MLP song. Maybe all these songs will be good picks, I say before clicking on the next episode. You just wait. The main story here with Pinkie Pie and Rarity drags a lot. This is the DoD Rarity voice actor, so it's nice to see her not being trashed by the writer. It's just the Pinkie stuff that doesn't do it for me. It's like whenever these kind of things go out of their way to be super duper quirky or meta, I usually don't like it too much, especially if it's a fan thing and I know they're gonna try and pull something like that. At the end of the day, it's a fun idea, and I bet they had fun doing it. The Lady and the Tramp background score from this hit my subconscious like a sleeper agent. This is where we start seeing whole pieces of original art made for this, with, yes, 2 artists who worked with Disney Fanatic. I'd recognize those art styles anywhere. You guys are the bomb. So with Pinkie Pie and Rarity out in Canterlot, the rest of the main 6 go to the Royal Archives to try and find something that'll fix the spell. They find this little secret Celestia chamber before the guards that Trixie sicked on them show up. The chase scene here in the library is actually really fun. I know this is supposed to be audio based, but the art here gives us a lot of fun little set pieces and moments. Reminds me of something like the season 2 finale or the opening to Between Dark and Dawn, but with wacky body swap shenanigans. Twi gets captured by Trixie and the two have a confrontation to the tune of Wake Me Up by Evanescence. I'm not kidding.
I guess it pays. It never pays to be the villain.
It's such a weird song to choose, but honestly, it's nothing compared to the song earlier in the episode. A parody of I Like It Like That by Hot Shell Ray, but it's about Rainbow Dash. And yeah, play it. Editor, roll the clip.
Rainbow Dash, yeah! You're the one pony we can always count on.
Like, if you took this out of the context of the series, this would genuinely be like a brony classic. This is one of the last pieces of music I was expecting. The obnoxiously 2011 song about girls taking their tops off and stuff that I still listen to this day, and it's about a blue pony. They cut out the rap part though. They knew that would make it too powerful. They really said leave the rap part over there. That's grandma's couch. Alright, so like the second episode, this one just kinda takes 2 of the main 6 and does a story with them in each other's roles. I gotta say, I appreciate that it's not the ones you'd expect to be swapped. Like, if this were some official media, it would be obvious pairings like Fluttershy and Dash, or Twilight and Pinkie, Rarity, AJ. Imagining that, it would be like one of those season 7 episodes that everyone forgets about. But no, here we have AJ and Fluttershy trying to stop these dragons from dragoning up around the Everfree Forest. It's fun, and I liked how they brought up Fluttershy's stare, which the show completely forgot about. Again, if the show did this, they wouldn't care. They just sing a bad song with way too much of the mandolin going on in the background. This episode is called Dragons and Draconiquises, and I was so hyped waiting for Discord to show up and waiting to see what he would do. And I gotta say, not comparing this to anything else, like actually, I like what they did with Discord here. He helps out, he's a good guy, but he still gives people a hard time and just doesn't care. And I don't know about any pony else, but that's my Discord. I also kind of appreciate the Mad Hatter-ish thing the voice actor went for. You could argue he's playing it up too much, but I don't care. They go to his house, and yeah, there's a dangerous amount of hijinks going on, so much that my skin is gonna melt off. The main 6 figure out they need to confront Trixie/Twilight at the Grand Galloping Gala, but with their situation, the only way to get tickets is to win them in the Equestrian Rodeo. We have a scene at the beginning with all the main 6 at Discord's crib, describing all the wacky stuff that's happened since they got here. Skip that because we get a scene with Rainbow Dash and Spike. And I gotta say, the performance that we get from Rainbow's VA, it's one of the better voices for her I've heard in this kind of thing. Having her next to this Rarity makes me realize how inaccurate her voice is. Now I see why they gave her the shaft in Daughter of Discord. They sing a parody of Trouble by Taylor Swift right after, so we don't get too much of the actual performance. I like what they do with the lyrics and that they managed to make it work with 3 people singing at each other, but I'm sorry, they peaked with I Like It Like That. What I realize is that the series is kind of structured like some kind of licensed video game where the plot, for the first few episodes, is only there to get the main 6 to all the different set pieces. The rodeo itself is a whole deal with its own beginning, middle, and end, running gags, an entire saga within itself, truly. They have this plot to have Fluttershy run in the first half of the race, with AJ swapping them out like in that one episode. It fails, and the Wonderbolts have to come and save them from not getting trampled, blah 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 blah. No tickets, but Discord does show up at the end and just gives them some. A lesser person would go on a rant about how, oh, there's no tension to the story right now, blah blah blah. But like Discord sings in his epic parody song, where's the fun in that? Starts off and you can tell the voice actor for AJ got a new mic. Perfectly balanced, you gotta sacrifice one to get another. More main 6 hijinks trying to get into the gala. There's a lot of character interaction stuff I don't go into with these episodes just because it's so close to the show where there's not too much to say. And I think that's a good thing because if it wasn't, it would be annoying or bad. They sing the Broadway version of Prince Ali and they go into the thing. Find this foreshadowing tapestry and then a creature shows up. Episode over. So this weird shadow thing from the end of last episode ends up chasing every pony around and captures Luna, while the main 6 escape with Trixie in tow. They make a deal that if Trixie helps them get back in their right bodies, the main six won't have her thrown in jail for doing this to them. They have to go and find the pony who gave her the evil jewel, Trixie says, but first they gotta go back to Ponyville and listen to a parody of It's a Hard Knock Life. More stuff happens with them taking care of those dragons from earlier that I really can't describe because I feel like I've seen it before, if not in a real thing, in some piece of fan media. I've fallen too far down the pony hole. I am like jaded at this point. Episode 8 starts off with a flashback. Trixie is trying to impress some people with stage magic, but is getting yelled at by an angry British guy and booed off stage.
She's boring.
After the show, a mysterious pony shows up, gives Trixie a gem and an evil monologue about how she too had everything taken from her by a princess. Trixie gets to live as Twilight, but the catch is, she has to give the alicorn amulet to this lady, that thing Trixie used in that one episode. Flash forward to a bit where Trixie as Twilight is trying to snoop around Canterlot Castle to find the thing. Luna's onto her and still talks like she's in ancient time for whatever reason. What I gotta say is I really like the characterization of Trixie here. She feels like a combo of her first appearance and what they do with her in season 6, even though this is a few years before that. She's so mean and dismissive even when the main six are trying to save the world. I love it. Halfway through the episode, it turns into, we gotta work together, and they have to go to the Crystal Empire to hopefully find some answers. I think this part of the story is a lot of fun. The dynamic between Trixie and the main six is cool to see, and the story becomes a lot more focused in these later episodes. Also, this episode just straight up ends with a jump scare. I don't know how to feel about that. Celestia is another voice that sounds eerily similar to the real thing. If you told me they got Nicole Oliver in the booth for a day, I wouldn't believe you, but I'd see why you'd want to tell me. Some of these voices combined with the music cues taken straight from the show feel like I'm watching some alternate universe version of MLP. I think that has to count for something. I like this bit where evil pony lady takes the cloak off, and there's some nice animation too. So this is Estelle, and at the end of this opener she drops a bombshell that she's the secret third sister of Celestia and Luna. I can't believe the news show ripped this off. Main six are at the Crystal Empire and they explain everything to Cadence and Shining Armor's body double who sounds nothing like him.
Hey little sis, long time no see.
Trixie still insists that they can find Estelle and change everyone back, but after having to deal with her for like a day, Twilight snaps and thinks Trixie's making this whole thing up just to mess with them. Back to Celestia and Luna having been captured by the crazy third sister. Estelle apparently revealed some deep dark secrets and Luna isn't too happy about it. She and Celestia sing a song, but who has time for that? In order to prove she's not crazy and that Trixie is really behind everything, Twilight gives her a fake amulet to see if she runs away with it and betrays them, but no, the Shadow thing shows up and they have a big ol' fight. Shadow gets away with the actual alicorn amulet too. Uh-oh. Sitcom establishing shot, music cue, back at the dungeon. Luna gets another song, and her VA can actually sing really well, throwing that out there. We only have like 2 episodes left, people. Things are wrapping up pretty soon. Compared to those first 5 or 6, this is an entirely different thing. No more shenanigans, we have an actual story to progress. I get you could call the early episodes filler, but I don't know. Looking back, I think it's fun to see the story exponentially ramp up like this. Buckle up, because it's gonna get crazy. Episode 10 is called Revelations, when it really should be called Exposition. Am I right, ponies, or am I right? The main six get captured by Estelle and her evil shadow minion, and things are looking dire. They've got the public domain creepypasta narration music playing, and every pony contemplates their next move. Celestia lets every pony know how Estelle came to be. The story brings in everybody's favorite MLP lore figure, Starswirl the Bearded. I cannot escape him, whether you like him or not. He's number 1. So during the early days of Equestria, Starswirl wants to find someone he can pass all his knowledge to, and has a vision that Estelle is the right pony for the job. After a huge war happens in Equestria, Starswirl decides to make Estelle the queen, and she can be an alicorn and rule forever. But she doesn't want that for whatever reason. And I mean for whatever reason, put a pin in that because we're gonna talk about it later. Estelle leaves and Celestia becomes the new heir, and is the alicorn princess we all know and love. Back in the present, Estelle uses Trixie, still in Twilight's body, hope we didn't forget that, and turns her into an all-powerful god alicorn. With her newfound power, Estelle has Trixie back on her side and makes her act out her evil plan to destroy the Tree of Harmony. Why are we destroying the Tree of Harmony? Because Estelle hates Starswirl, and Starswirl is the tree. Yeah, all this lore is too complicated. Luna, Shadow Guy, can you guys sing the Twilight Breaking Dawn song? Thank you. Turns out the shadow thing is what made Nightmare Moon. If you remember when I talked about Rocket to Insanity, that had a similar premise with some outside force turning her evil. The IDW comics did that too. I think that's an idea a lot of people like, TBH. Episode 11 slaps. If you think we're done with the bombshells, get ready, because the reason that Estelle hates Star Swirl is because Estelle was in love with him all those years back, and he rejected her. I cannot make this up. That makes 2 times the main villain in a My Little Pony audio drama turned evil because they got turned down by one of the male characters. For these last few episodes, we've gotten some really cliche melodramatic dialogue, mostly from the princess characters. Like, every line is, "Ugh, you don't know what you're doing." But I kinda love it. And since it's the Tree of Harmony, it'll basically wipe out all the magic in Equestria. Trixie doesn't like that though, because if she does that, then people won't like her. Oh no. Trixie fights back against Estelle, and we get a wholly original song, which is really, really well done. Every pony forgives Trixie and thanks her for turning around and saving the day. And Estelle gets all the magic sucked out of her, fleeing to possibly return in the sequel. Yeah, that's right, sequel. Princess Trixie Sparkle would continue with 2 more episodes being released in the past few years after they finished the first. The story of the second isn't complete yet, so I don't have anything I'd like to say right now except go watch it. With things like this, you can see the improvement in voice acting over time, as well as the art, and everything in general. From the few short clips I watched of the second series, there's even more bits of animation, and the art is consistently polished. Now, I don't know what I'm gonna put in the title or thumbnail, but is Princess Trixie Sparkle the weirdest My Little Pony audio drama? No. Whatever. I liked it. I thought it had some bad or cringy parts, but it comes with the territory, and the effort put in makes it worth the watch. Comparing it to the Bride of Discord in the Room, yeah, there's no weird dynamics. With the stuff like that, there was more to talk about. The writing here is just good. I thought parts of it were trying too hard to be funny or grim and serious, but this is My Little Pony, it's what they do. Shout out to Magpie Pony for being a real one, and shout out to the fans on Patreon. It's only a mere $3 to get your name in a video and have exclusive updates and early release videos, so